Interviewing. Interviewing is such an interesting concept. The one thing that I do, and Mike does, is we periodically drop into positions and we actually hold the position for a while and run the system for a while just to make sure that it's still functioning as it always functioned. I used to interview a lot, and now that I'm back into interviewing, it's been super interesting. So I'm going to tell you about it. So our interviews are broken up into 3 different interviews. And the first interview is always, is this person even a fit before we even move on to anything else? Because technically, if they have a resume and technically they look like they're a fit, say you're looking for a person that needs a certain technical skill set and you read it on the paper that they have the technical skill set, you're thinking this is great because they can do the thing you need them to do. I can tell you this. Technical skill sets are absolutely necessary, specifically for certain jobs in your office. If you need a medical person, you need a technical skill set. If you need an associate, you need the skill set of a chiropractor who actually has a license to be able to practice in your state. I'm not taking away from skill set at all and technical skill set, but I want to talk about what is even more important than skill set, which you would think, how can that possibly be? Because how do they do the job if they don't have the skill set? What's more important is, what is their cultural alignment with your company? First of all, do they even know what your company is about? Because this first interview process can be so telling. So let me tell you what I ask and some of the answers that I ran into, okay? And some of them that what I'll call are deal breakers. So the first question I always ask is, what research have you done about the company and what does the company do? I've been interviewing and I'm actually pretty amazed at the number of people who have done essentially no research at all. Or they'll say, I looked on your website, and they say you help people, and I think that that's good to help people. And then they make up something about helping people or something like that. And so I'll dig in a little bit more and say, what did you look at? And it actually gets pretty awkward because when you ask your question on interviewing, what's really important is that you stop talking. So you ask the question, and if the person fumbles and stumbles, you need to let them fumble and stumble and don't fill in their blanks. Because remember, you're looking to see, is this person a fit for your office? You're not looking to see, how much can I buffer and prop this person up so that they feel good? So if you get that piece of it right there, right? The interview process has to have no propping up or anything. Because remember, in the interview process, you are looking at the best it'll ever be. So imagine, it never gets better than the interview process because people who come for interviews are usually on their best behavior. They want to have it look really great, best foot forward, most professional that they can possibly be. So this is it. So the last thing you want to do is you don't want to interrupt what they're saying. You don't want to fill in their blanks for them. You need to leave the awkward silence because it's in that awkward silence that you begin to see the real person. So here's an example. I asked somebody that, and they said something about you help doctors to build practices that help patients. Okay, it was vague, and I was like, all right, go on. And they're like, well, you know, and they couldn't answer the question. So I had an opportunity here. I left the awkward silence. They started fidgeting a little bit in their chair, which is fine. But I did take the opportunity because I said the one thing that's super important is that you promote, promote, promote. Any opportunity you have to promote what you do, you take. So it was clear she had no idea what we did, right? Which means in my head, what does she think she just applied for if she has no idea what we do? How do you apply for a job if you have no idea what the company does, or you have this very vague idea? She was applying for a sales position. Imagine this, okay? She was applying for sales, and I think she thought she was going to be asked questions about sales. I don't think she thought she was going to be asked about the company. After this conversation, I took the opportunity to promote. I explained exactly what we do and the mission and our vision that we're forwarding. And then she said, she was like, that's right, that's what you do. As if it was her answer, which I thought was cute that she said that. But either way, she actually didn't really know what the company did, which to me was a strike right there. So I moved on, second question. So I'm always curious to find out, why are they leaving their previous job? Why are they choosing to enter back into the marketplace? Which means, what did they not either get fulfilled with? What happened at the last job? Not like, what happened, did you get fired or anything like that, but it's more what occurred that you decided not to be at that job anymore? And what is it that you're looking to get in your next job? That's what I'm looking for. So the question goes along the lines, which is, of your last 3 jobs that you've had, I want you to tell me why you decided to no longer be at that position. When you had your original job, what is it that made you decide that you wanted to leave? And what is it that you thought you were going to gain or grow with at the next job, which is why you chose that next job? So your reasoning why you left and the reasoning why you chose the next job, right? And I want you to go through the 3 jobs. Now, normally you have a resume, which is fine. I can follow along with it, right? And so I find it interesting because some people can't remember where they worked at. And this is one that I just did the other day, that she had to look at her resume because she couldn't remember where she worked at. And then what happened was that I picked up that there were things missing on the resume. There were jobs that she had in between jobs because she couldn't keep the timing straight. So I had to really pin it down. But the interesting part was, this is where you're going to pick up the reasons why people leave jobs and what they're looking for. And you're going to pick up, are they leaving and finding jobs based upon their convenience or what they want? Or do they leave jobs because they've fulfilled whatever it was, the most that they could fulfill at that position, and it was time for them to actually grow into another position? So let's give you an example, okay? This interview I did said that free time was why she took jobs, which to me I thought was not an answer you should ever give any interviewer, but this is what she said. So having her free time was why she took jobs. And so she had this one job. It was more than she thought it would be, and the free time that she wanted to do the things she wanted to do, she didn't have it because the hours were too long. And then so she left that job for another job that she thought would be more flexible. And this is again where I picked up. If you don't get a resume with exact dates on there and a timeline, like you can't timeline it back, you're pretty sure there's gaps in their resumes. In fact, the last 2 resumes I did, they were jobs with no dates on them. In between, there were multiple jobs in between that they took and they quit or were fired, I don't really know. But multiple jobs in between, or gaps that made no sense. Gaps because they wanted to take a rest kind of thing. And the reason why this is important is because the person is back in the marketplace and they're going to take the next job for the same reason why they took all their previous jobs. And that's either for personal growth and helping to learn more and to grow more and to help the company that they're with to learn and grow more, or it's going to be for convenience, or I needed more benefits, or I needed something. Do you see the difference? It's I'm moving jobs because I need something, I need something. So the philosophy is they're looking to be given something. Or there is the, hey, I took the job, I knew it would be a challenge, I learned a ton at that job, they sent me off for continuing education, I thought it was fabulous, they took me down to Clearwater to train at AMI, just kidding. Anyway, they took me to training, I thought it was fabulous, I grew so much, and then there was no more growth opportunity, and I talked to my employer and they told me, yeah, there's no more growth opportunity here, and so I needed to move somewhere where there was more growth opportunity, but I'm on great terms with this employer and I moved on to this one. That's 2 different ways to move from job to job. So if you don't ask the question, which is tell me about your last 3 jobs, what happened to make you want to leave the job, and what did you think you would get from the next job? And so you need the pattern. Here to here, here to here, here to here. Because when you pick the pattern up, the pattern's going to be the same for you. So remember, when I started this video, I said, we're not looking for technical skills right now, we're looking for fit. Because nobody wants somebody in their office or in their business that's not there to learn and to grow. You want people there who are curious and they want to learn and they want to grow. So that is my second question that I ask. It's an extremely telling question, but I'll go on and tell you my third question, which is, of the 3 jobs you just told me about, what is it that you personally would do on your job that contributed to the growth of the company? And you'd be surprised, the ones that I've been doing, the interviews I've been doing lately, very few people know what they even contributed to the companies that they worked for. It's amazing because we were interviewing for sales, and you would think that salespeople would know what they contribute. These people that I interviewed were more about what their commissions were and that they weren't given the opportunities to make the commissions that they wanted. That was pretty much the gist of it, was I wasn't given enough leads to get the opportunities, and therefore I could not grow, and I was, again, victim was the conversation. Anyway, that's my third question. And so then, of course, my fourth question is, what is it that you are thinking that you need to be paid? Again, it should be a straightforward question, but it's pretty interesting. Sometimes people, like one of the interviews I did, I know everything about their household. I can tell you, I know what they spend their money on, everything. I know what their car payment is, I know what their house payment is, I know everything, right? Too much information on that one. And they actually didn't have a clear answer. They were trying to add up in their head what all their bills cost to figure it out. So you're looking at somebody completely unprepared. And remember this, think of it this way, we're looking for sales. If they can't even put together how much money they need to run their own house and their finances are not in order and they can't add it up, how in heck are they ever going to talk to somebody and say they need to part with so much money? And that person says, I don't have the money. How are they ever going to help that person decipher if they can afford something when they can't even figure out how much salary expectations they need? So that's my fourth question. And my fifth question is, do you have any questions for me? And again, this can be telling. If the questions are all centered around everything they need, I need benefits, I need this much money, and I need this and I need that, right? And there's no questions about what does a typical day look like in the job? Can you explain to me if I was to work here? What would it look like? What kind of tools do you use here? If they're not even curious on what their life would be like in the job, then they're only looking for a job. They're not looking to contribute. I know it's crazy. It's 5 questions that you're asking. It seems pretty simple, but you're looking to see, do you have somebody who is actually understands what it means to contribute and be part of a team and to help a team grow and a company grow? Or do you have somebody who's just looking for a job that eventually is just going to move on to somewhere else? And that's what I do on the first interview. And so I thought it would be pretty interesting to tell you that I'm back in it and giving it a try. And I feel like maybe there should be coaching for people who go on interviews out there on maybe things to say or not say, but from an employer's viewpoint, people will just tell you who they are through those questions, and then you'll discover who the one is that you're ready to move on to the next interview process.